Hi, it's Greg here, and I'm covering off the Daily 5. So, today I want to talk about some different names. I tried not to just pick the big ones, something maybe might be on your radar, but I want to talk specifically about some different styles that are out there. On the last Daily 5 I covered off, I mentioned that there's a lot of movement starting towards alternative fuels, hydrogen, electric, solar, wind, renewable energy power companies are doing well, and a lot of that is on the back of Tesla. And again, one of the big themes under this is that if the world's going to move towards electric cars, then we're going to need charging stations. We're going to need copper to power up all of that stuff. We're going to need transmission lines. We're going to need the copper mines themselves. So there's lots related to the Tesla trade, and I think this chart is one of them. So first of all, before I get into the actual chart, let's cover off what the indicators are. This is my relative strength compared to the S&P, and when it's trending up, it's outperforming the S&P 500. This is the weekly full stochastic, and again, if it stays between 50 and 80 for a long period of time, that would be very positive. Below, I'll cover off the price in a sec, but below, we have volume, and again, in this particular case, we can start to see the volume exploding. And then here's the PPO, and what we see on the PPO was that it was having trouble getting above zero for years here, and all of a sudden now it started to take off. And we're in the early innings here, but we can see that this stock didn't do anywhere near this kind of volume in the last few months, and then all of a sudden 120 million shares, 75 million shares, a quiet week at 25 million when it was pulling back, so nobody wanted to sell, and now it's taking off to the upside, so 50 million and another 80 million. So with that, lots of enthusiasm. And I think when I look at this chart, I think this is just the early innings of trying to find something like, imagine gas stations in the 30s or 40s. I think this is set up to be similar, how they set up their charging stations for all these electric cars out there. So this stock was stuck under $4. Moved up to 8, pulled back, no volume on the sell-off. That's a beautiful thing. And now starting to rise. Now, it's really hard to pick it up here when it's been a double this week. It's still at up 60%. Even after the huge rally it's had. I would think if we get any overall market weakness and this pulls back, this would be a nice place to try and pick it up a little bit lower. But again, I think you're at the beginning of a big emerging trend, so there's probably lots of room to the upside that we could enjoy on this particular name. Of the three gaming stocks, Activision, Electronic Arts, and I'm missing the other one, Blizzard. Sorry, not Blizzard. Anyway, doesn't matter. I'm going to cover off this chart. But all of them are moving higher. And the real point was, I think this space is going to continue with... we have the launch coming for the New Year's products, all of I'll call it the Christmas season or the holiday season. And these charts are just setting up to take off here. So I like the shape of the chart. There's nothing wrong with it. It might wobble a little bit here, but I still think, we're getting ready to take out 2-year highs here. And they're all doing it as a group. So I like it when you get a good industry group thrust taking off. So for Activision, well above its moving averages, everything there is nice. Now, on the cannabis front, recently I did a Market Buzz show, and on the Market Buzz I mentioned that a lot of the cannabis names were starting to set up after making big bases and starting to break out, and we have a few of them starting to make new 52-week highs. This is one of those stocks, and it's really the strongest looking stock in the sector, and this is a Canadian name, but the point I want to make is that they are changing, and it was in March these all hit big new lows, and then they've rallied ever since. And these rallies have been very important, but what we see here is the stock is at new 52-week highs in relative strength compared to the S&P 500. It's also doing very well on its full stochastic. Again, a weekly full stochastic, if it stays above 50, it's very bullish. But this looks like it's ready to turn higher here after making this big base and all of a sudden starting to climb higher. 2 weeks ago, it tested higher, pulled back, no sellers showed up, and all of a sudden the stock is taking off. So in particular, I like this look of the stock. And it's about to go through its post-IPO high. So it IPO'd, went up for 2 weeks, and then hasn't done anything. And you might remember Weed Wednesday was October 2018. So it's been 2 years that these have downtrended, and all of a sudden starting to base and break out to the upside. So that is particularly good. And again, thinking about an industry-wide look, you can start to look at Tilray or Afria or Canopy Growth, maybe Organigram, any of those names in that space, but I like them as a theme broadly. This is another take on the marijuana theme. This is hydroponics company, and if there's going to be, one of the reasons that I've been covering off marijuana this week is we're 100 days from the U.S. election. And one of the big things there is the Democrats have already mentioned that if they got into power, they'd be legalizing marijuana at a federal level. If that was going to happen, obviously, then all of these charts aren't going to wait for the election. They're going to start to move before, and I think that's what we're seeing. So last week, this stock tested a breakout above, pulled back, and then continued to rise up, and again, it's moved a lot this week. It's up 14% already, but I think we're just getting started. Look at the volume starting to show up for work here. Buyers are stepping in. And again, if you've got, let's call it a 2-year process of legalization coming on a federal level, that's probably really going to help these names over the longer term. So I like the macro setup for it, and I think one of the things to consider the most is making sure that you're at least aware of it. And if you don't want to invest in, I'll call it the cannabis directly, maybe there's spin-off businesses like this hydroponics company that might be more appealing. And lastly, I think one of the areas that's had so much trouble through the COVID-19 period has been online dating. And one of the reasons is obviously getting together has been not very comfortable. And so as the market starts to move away or price in the fact that COVID is going to either be with us or going to deal with it and move away, then this name has been basing for a while here, stuck under this $92.50 level. And again, we just broke out 52-week highs. We've paused here. This is the highest close, and it just broke through the previous 3 or 4 weeks where it got stuck at this level. So I like this a lot here as it starts to break out. And again, I think on the backside of COVID, obviously that should help an earnings acceleration. If it didn't dip too much on the second quarter earnings, hopefully this name can keep running. So anyway, wanted to watch that, but I do like the shape of the chart right here, right now. And lastly, if any of you are interested, whenever I do a daily 5, I put out a coupon for any subscription to my website services called GrowGeneration.com. And if you headed over there and clicked on the annual tab on the home page, so just scroll down and there's monthly, quarterly, and annually. On the annual tab, if you put in the code daily5, you'd be able to save $360 on an annual membership. And if you'd like, you can also try it on a monthly basis. But the big thing over time here, we're going to have lots of changes, and hopefully if you'd like some other big macro trend ideas, you could follow me for that. So thanks for taking the time to watch me, and hopefully have a good August here as we break out, and so far the market seems to be continuing. So thanks everybody. Have a great week. Bye-bye.
Hey, Grayson Rose here with StockCharts. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed that video. If you did, consider giving it a like down below, maybe leave us a comment, and if you're new to the channel, you can subscribe at the link up above. We're gonna bring you daily content from an incredible collection of technical analysts and financial experts.